What's up to everyone watching? Back with another breakdown video. This week we got UFC 314, Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. Co-main, we got Michael Chandler versus Patty the Batty. So yeah, let's get into it. Been a minute. Haven't made a video in a couple weeks. Didn't feel like making a video for those cards, those fight night cards, but I gotta make one for the pay-per-view. It is what it is. First fight, we got Nora Cornoli versus Haley Cowan. Right off the bat, I'm gonna go Nora Cornoli. She's good striker, good striker. Cowan, on the other hand, I think this is his second fight in the UFC. Yeah, second fight in the UFC. Lost to Jamie Lynn Horth in her first fight, which is not a bad loss. Jamie Lynn Horth is pretty. What is this flyweights? 125? 135. This is 135? No way, it's 135. I guess it is 135. This fight's at 135? Yeah, I guess so. Bantamweight? Yeah, bantamweight. Okay, so 135. Jing Linhorth, pretty even though she just lost a couple fights, lost her undefeated record. I think she's still decent for any women's division, but 135 for sure. However, I feel like Cornoli should be able to have her way with Cowan. Honestly, just be able to have her way. Lost to Victoria Leonardo, which is not a good loss, man. You losing to her, you're doing something wrong. Kelly Clayton, don't know who that is. 2-2 fighter. Yeah, I don't see Cowan winning this one at all. I got Cornoli all day. Cornoli is a good striker. I did pick her when she lost against Cavalcanti, I believe. I picked her in all of her fights. I picked her against Jocelyn Edwards, picked her against Melissa Mullins, and that was a good knockout with Melissa Mullins. Cornoli has good striking, good knees, really good knees actually, good kicks, mixes up her strikes well. I think that she's just gonna be too much for Cowan. Cornoli puts the pressure on, walks her opponents down. I think she's just gonna wear down Cowan and might be able to find a finish honestly by knockout. But I'm gonna take Cornoli here by decision or like rounds 2, 3 knockout. Next fight, it's gonna be a good fight. We got Tresean Gore versus Marco Tulio. Marco Tulio just had his first fight in the UFC. He beat Ihor Potieria, and as I've said before, no disrespect to Ihor Potieria, but he's probably one of the absolute worst fighters that I've seen in the UFC. All around, one of the worst fighters. But it was a good win for Tulio to get him in the UFC, raise his stock. And this is a tricky fight because Tulio is going to be a decent favorite here. Yeah, almost minus 400. Ooh, and he is really good. Tulio is good. Good striking, decent cardio, durable, pretty good grappling. Not that much of a grappler, but he can grapple decently. Decent takedown defense. Tresean Gore, on the other hand, I think that he has the better wrestling than Tulio. However, I think Tulio has a better striking than Gore. We have seen Gore talk a lot of game, not talk trash, but talk a lot of game, saying he's gonna be future champion, future double champ. And that was before he even had his first fight in the UFC. He lost to Brian Battle, got knocked out by Cody Brundage, had that nasty choke on Josh Frem. Almost, I thought he was gonna break his neck. And then he choked out Antonio Trocoli, who was not that good, but decent fighter. This is honestly kind of a coin flip for me. The odds don't say it's a coin flip, but I think it's a coin flip just because Gore has good wrestling and he honestly just has like extreme willpower to win. That dude wants to win. and he's a savage. He's a walk you down, eat your shots. If he doesn't get knocked out, he's gonna try to knock you out. So, I mean, I want to pick Tulio here. I don't really. I mean, I could see both fighters getting a finish. I could see Gore knocking out Tulio, choking Tulio out. I could see Tulio knocking Gore out. So this is a difficult fight for me to pick, even though for most people it's probably not. Yeah, 12% picking Gore. I'm gonna pick Tulio. Same height, half inch reach disadvantage for Tulio. So I think that this should be a fight that plays out on the feet. If anyone's trying to grapple in this matchup, it's going to be Tresean Gore trying to wear on Tulio, maybe get some control time on the fence, hold him down, get some takedowns. But I think that Tulio is just going to be able, he's going to use his fight IQ and just outstrike Gore from the outside, probably. If he needs to move inside, find some good shots, he will. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Tulio here. Um, Tulio by decision or knockout, like rounds one or two. It's either that this fight's gonna go to the distance with Gore winning, or Tulio finds a finish inside 3 rounds. So, and I'm more confident in Tulio finding a finish in within 3 rounds. So, I'll pick Tulio here. Next fight, we got Sumu Darji versus Mitch Raposo, and Mudarji's coming off a couple losses, 3 losses. Choked out by Max Schnell in that crazy comeback where he had Matt Schnell pretty much out. Dude got knocked down like 3 times, and then Matt Schnell rocked Mudarji, choked him out with the triangle. Triangle wasn't even on the right side. And then submitted by Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott, the flyweight vet. I wouldn't say that's too bad of a loss. Then he got beat by Charles Johnson, which is not that bad of a loss as well because Charles Johnson, even though Charles Johnson just lost to Ramazan Tamirov, Charles Johnson is a well-improved flyweight, and I don't think that bad of a person to lose to. Sumu Darji, 3 inch height advantage, and a 7.5 inch, right? Reach advantage. Oh wait, yeah, 7.5 inch reach advantage. UFC experience would definitely go to Sumu Darji in this one. He's got to be close to 10 UFC fights, right? Yeah, he got 7. This will be his 8th. I think Mitch Raposo only has maybe like 3 or 4. Oh, damn, this is his second fight. I think he was on the Ultimate Fighter, that Volk season, right? That the Volk season? Yeah, that was the Volk season. Lost his contender to Jay Cadley, not a bad loss. Got a couple wins on the regional circuit. And I think this fight with Andre Lima, didn't Lima come overweight? No, he didn't come over. Oh, yeah, he did come overweight. Yep. This was a last minute replacement for Lima. Raposo stepped in late, short notice, and Lima missed weight. Raposo is decent, good grappling, good wrestling, decent cardio, decent striking. I'm gonna pick Mitch Raposo on this one. I can't pick Sumo Darji. Coming off 3 losses in a row. He's supposed to win the fight against Matt Schnell. Just couldn't finish the fight, honestly. He had Matt Schnell hurt on multiple occasions and just couldn't finish him. Got choked out pretty quick by Tim Elliott, and then he just got outclassed by Charles Johnson. So this should be a fight that plays out on the feet. If anyone's trying to grapple and look for takedowns, it's going to be Mitch Raposo. And the thing with Sumo Darji is that I've seen him slow down in all of his fights. He slowed down against Matt Schnell. That's why he got choked out and lost. And yeah, gotta pick Mitch Raposo in this fight because stepped in on a short notice against Andre Lima. Didn't look too bad. Wasn't that a split decision too, right? Yeah, split decision. And Lima's pretty decent prospect for flyweights. I got Mitch Raposo in this one by decision. I don't really see any fighter getting a finish in this fight. If someone does get a finish, it's gonna be Mitch Raposo finishing Sumu Darji because Sumu Darji is just not that durable. And you can see from Raposo's fights that he's pretty well rounded. He's got four knockouts, three submissions, two by decision, so he can go the distance if needed. Sumo Darji, on the other hand, strictly just knockouts. Just knockouts. Got 13 knockouts. Sumo Darji has great striking, but the problem is his durability, his cardio, his fight IQ. Too many downsides on Sumo Darji, and coming off three fights, losing skid. Nah, give me Raposo by decision. Another fun fight right here, kind of like the last one. We got Cedric Dumas versus Mikhail Olajaychik. And Olajaychik's coming off three losses. I know he lost to Kevin Holland. He lost to Shara Bullet. And then to start out his three fight losing skid, he got choked out by Michel Pereira. Pereira, even though he has no cardio, I think he's still a good fighter and not the worst loss, not the worst person to lose to. Kevin Holland, extremely experienced, not the worst person to lose to. Shara Bullet, it was kind of a close fight with Shara Bullet, honestly. I wouldn't say that Olajaychik won the fight, but it was decently close for 3 rounds. And Olajaychik's now training out of Fighting Nerds in Brazil. So new training for Olajaychik. And Olajaychik is going to be at a 2-inch height disadvantage and a 5-inch reach disadvantage. So everyone picking Olajaychik here, and I do not know why. I mean, I kind of get it. Dumas hasn't showed too much in the UFC. Lost to Ruzi Boyev, and he lost to Josh Fram, which is not a good loss at all. Beat Cody Brundage, beat Abu Azatar, who I don't think is in the UFC anymore. Dennis Tallulah, same with him. Don't think he's in the UFC anymore. But I think that this should definitely be a fight that plays out on the feet. If anyone's trying to grapple, it's probably going to be Olajaychik. And Olajaychik, he's a decent grappler, but not that good of a grappler. 14 knockouts for Olajaychik and Dumas, only 10 UFC fights. I mean, 10 professional MMA fights, and he's got four knockouts. So a lot of wins by decision from Dumas, which is actually kind of a positive note because that shows that he can go the distance if needed. And Olajaychik, on the other hand, four wins by decision, 7-7, and one in the UFC. So UFC experience definitely goes to Olajaychik. I'm gonna pick Dumas here, man. Considering it's gonna be a fight that plays out on the feet, I think that Dumas is a more powerful striker, slightly more durable, because we've seen Olajaychik slow down and get finished in some fights, and also his IQ, like going to the ground with Kevin Holland. And I don't think he shot enough takedowns and tried to grapple enough with Cheryl Bullet. So Olajaychik's path to victory is definitely mixing it up, trying to mix in takedowns. Dumas, on the other hand, his key to victory is definitely keeping it on the outside, using a lot of kicks, using his range with a 5-inch reach advantage on Olajaychik. So I'm gonna pick Dumas here. I think Dumas, if he if it doesn't if he doesn't find a knockout within the distance, I think that Dumas can outstrike Olajaychik and defend the grappling exchanges for 3 rounds. So give me Dumas here by knockout round 2 or 3 or decision. Next fight, we got this. This is a stacked card, man. This card's stacked from top to bottom. Next fight, we got Darren the Damage Elkins versus Julian Erosa. And I'm gonna pick Erosa here. Even though Elkins 40 years old, pretty much 41, he's shown that he's still a dog and still got some fight in him. His last loss was to JSP. Then he beat TJ Brown, who's not in the UFC anymore, choked TJ Brown out. And then he beat Daniel Pineda, which that was a dogfight. And Pineda's not in the UFC anymore either. He actually retired. Then we got Arosa, who got knocked out bad by Padilla, knocked out by Caceres with a nasty head kick. Came back, choked out Ricardo Ramos, who has a problem with defending guillotine chokes. And then he submitted Christian Rodriguez, who also has a problem with some guillotine chokes. I gotta take, and this is thing, minus 400, he should not be that big of a favorite, but Juicy J, I gotta go with Arosa here. I think Arosa should be better striker, the better grappler. Only thing that worries me with Arosa is his durability. We've seen him get cracked a lot. Like even by like not even the biggest strikes, he just gets hurt. And Darren Elkins, on the other hand, can wrestle. He can wrestle good, but as we know, he likes to strike, make it a war, make it a dogfight. Arosa's got what, a three or no? He got 3 inch height advantage and a 3.5 reach advantage. I think Arosa should be able to just be the cleaner fighter for 3 rounds, probably even find a finish by knockout or submission, even though Darren Elkins is one tough guy, 29 UFC fights. But Arosa's got a lot too. I know that. He's got to have almost 20 as well. What's that? 15? 15 UFC fights. This would be his 16th. So, only thing that plays into part for uh, Darren Elkins is his cardio, great cardio, and his UFC experience. Great UFC experience. But I think that Arosa is just going to be too much for him in all departments, grappling, striking. Yeah, so I think that Arosa should be able to find a finish within 3 rounds. Give me Arosa by submission round one or two. Next fight, it's gonna be a good fight too. We got Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. Jim Miller just lost to Bobby Green. I think his last fight was at UFC 300, right? Oh no, he beat Damon Jackson. Yeah, beat Damon Jackson, choked Damon Jackson out. There's not much to break down in this fight. We've got grappler versus grappler. However, both have improved their striking a lot. And in this matchup, Chase Hooper is gonna have a 5 inch height advantage and a 3 inch reach advantage. Chase Hooper coming off that, was it his last fight? Slaviclaws? No. Clay Guida. Yeah, Clay Guida. Chase Hooper has looked really, really good. I'm not gonna lie, he looked really, really good. I've been watching Chase Hooper since his first UFC fight, and since then he's looked extremely improved. Had a couple losses, Steve Garcia, Steven Pearson. That's a bad loss. That's a really bad loss. But I mean, he's getting a lot of finishes. Choked Jordan Levin out, beat the crap out of Slavoj Borshev, choked out Clay Guida or armbarred him. So. Chase Hooper's definitely been improving, and I think that he's just going to be too much for Jim Miller at this point in his career. Maybe like 5 years ago, if you would ask me, I think that Jim Miller would get the win, but now Chase Hooper is just too much and too improved. He's going to have the advantage grappling, striking, cardio, durability. Only thing that plays in the part for Jim Miller is his UFC experience, but I think that Chase Hooper should be able to find a finish in this fight. So give me Chase Hooper by knockout or submission, really any round. Chase Hooper should be able to have his way with Jim Miller. And if Chase Hooper wants to go 3 rounds, then he can go 3 rounds. But if he wants to get a finish, he should definitely be able to find a finish. So yeah, give me Chase Hooper in this matchup right here. Next fight, we got Virna Jandiroba. Always have trouble saying her name. And we got Yan Xiaonan. Xiaonan's coming off that win. Pretty good win over Tabitha Ricci. And then Janitri Doba is coming off a win when she armbarred Amanda Lemos. And Verena has been on a good, decent run lately. Beat Angela Hill. Beat Marina Rodriguez. Pretty good win. And then she beat Loopy, who's a dominant wrestler. Dominant wrestler. I could have sworn I seen Jandri Doba fight in person before. Maybe not. Maybe not. This is a tough fight to pick. At first, yeah, see, 53-47. I wanted to pick Jandri Doba, but I'm kind of leaning Yang Xiaonan here. Trained out of Team Alpha Male, Xiaonan has definitely improved her grappling, her takedown defense. Because as we know, a lot of people want to take her down because she has really good striking, great boxing. She lost to Wei Li for the belt, but it was a closer fight than most people would say. I mean, she hurt Wei Li multiple times in that fight, like multiple times. Had Wei Li hurt bad, and then she even Yan Xiaonan got choked out and came back to sleep. Herzog let the fight play out, and yeah, Yan Xiaonan's just basically a dog. She's a dog, and Yan Xiaonan 2 inch height advantage, 1 inch reach disadvantage. Hmm. Gentry Doba, as we know, heavy grappler, looking for takedowns, looking to submit you, control you on the ground. But she has improved her striking because when you get to this level, when you get to the top five of any division, woman or men's in the UFC, you got to be able to be a well-rounded fighter. So this is a hard fight for me to pick. Jandri Doba, she's strong, man, but so is Yan Xiaonan. She's strong too. But what worries me is I don't know. I don't know about this fight, man. This one's a hard fight to pick. As we see, she's got 14 wins by submission, which is kind of crazy. You see a lot of just decisions here, and that's just from her controlling her opponents. Lost to Mackenzie Dern, Amanda Ribas, Carla Esparza, which are not the worst losses, but I think that Jantri Dolba, man, she's just going to be too much for Yan Xiaonan in this fight, just constantly pressing the grappling. 3 rounds, I think that Jantri Dolba can put on the pressure and just wear on Yan Xiaonan, just constantly just trying to grapple. Um, hmm, yeah, I gotta go Jantri Dolba. I think that she's just gonna think she's improved enough in the striking where she won't get hit too much. It won't take too much damage trying to look for the grappling exchanges. But this is a really hard fight to pick. I wouldn't be surprised if Yan Xiaonan won this fight. I'm actually rooting for Yan Xiaonan to win this fight because I want to see her fight Wei Li again for the belt. So yeah, I'm gonna pick Jandri Doba in this fight by decision, maybe submission, maybe a late submission rounds 2, 3. But I'm rooting for Yan Xiaonan to win this fight, and I wouldn't be surprised if she won. Next fight, we got I'm excited for this one right here. We got Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. And right off the bat, I'm gonna pick Sean Woodson. Even though Dan Ige is the man, Mr. 50K, I gotta pick Sean Woodson here. He's just gonna be too much for Dan. I think that and let's look at the stats here. We got what's that? It's like a 7 inch height advantage for Sean Woodson, 7 inch reach advantage. Dan Ige, as we know, the people's champ, lost to Bryce Mitchell, not the worst loss. He basically just got controlled and grappled in that fight. Came back, knocked out Andre Fili. Then he lost to Diego Lopez on like what, like 2 hour notice. I don't even know if it was 2 hours, but same day, Ige stepped in when Ortega pulled out of the fight with Lopez. And Ige had a decent fight. I think he took a round off Lopez. I think it was 29-28, but then he lost to Lerone Murphy, which is not a bad loss. We just seen Lerone Murphy beat Josh Emmett, and I honestly think that right now for the featherweights, we got Volk and Lopez fighting for the belt, and I think that Movsar and Lerone Murphy should fight for number one contender after that, regardless of who wins the belt this weekend. Anyways, back to this fight. I gotta pick Sean Woodson. He's gonna have the cleaner striking, and we don't see Dan Ige shooting for takedowns that much. And he's gonna if he's gonna want to win this fight, he's gonna have to shoot for takedowns. Even though he's not really a wrestler, he's gonna have to shoot for takedowns because Sean Woodson's gonna be too long, great movement, and only thing that with the problem with Sean Woodson is his cardio. This dude's 6'2", and he cuts down to 145. I mean, I don't know how he does it, but hats off to him because that's kind of unheard of. And I think that Woodson's gonna have the better. He's gonna be more durable, even though Dan Ige is really, really durable. I mean, when have we seen Dan Ige really get finished? Not too often in the UFC. Yeah, never, never been finished. All losses, 8 by decision. So Dan Ige is really durable, but 10-8 in the UFC does not have some. He has some kind of some bad losses. I mean, Julio Arce, that was like what, 7 years ago, but I mean, still can't be losing to Julio Arce. And I mean, Zombie. So he doesn't have that many too bad losses, but he doesn't have that many good. I mean, he has great finishes. He's knocked a lot of people out, but as far as names go, high level name, like big names, I mean, I guess Edson Barbosa, but other than Barbosa, who do you really have? Knocked out Damon Jackson, that's expected. Knocked out Gavin Tucker, expected. A lot of these wins that he has are expected wins. You don't expect any get to lose in these fights. And this should definitely be a fight that plays out on the feet. And just Woodson, man, his boxing's so clean. He has pretty good fight IQ, good knees. He knows when to use knees when people are trying to rush into his range. He knows when to he has great knees, good jab, good hook. Yeah, I gotta pick Sean Woodson in this fight. Give me Sean Woodson by 3-round decision. I don't see any fighter getting a finish here. If anybody does get a finish, it's going to be Danny Ige knocking out Sean Woodson and probably getting another 50K bonus. But I think that Woodson will be too sharp. He's just going to snipe. He's just going to snipe Danny Ige. So yeah, give me Sean Woodson by decision. Next fight, we got Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. And Krylov hasn't fought in, I believe, like almost 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. And Reyes coming off that win. Was that Dustin Jacoby this last? Oh no, Anthony Smith his last fight. Okay. Half-inch reach advantage for Krylov and 1 inch height advantage for Reyes. UFC experience gotta go to Krylov, right? Yeah, 18 fights. But Reyes has at least 10. Yeah, he's got 12. So UFC experience goes to Krylov. I think the grappling um advantage goes to Krylov as well. However, and I also believe the durability definitely goes to Krylov because we have seen Dominic Reyes get put out a lot. So cardio, I mean not cardio, excuse me, durability, ex UFC experience, and grappling. That's for Krylov. For Reyes, we got cardio, striking, and I would say fight IQ because Krylov has put himself in some bad positions before. I forgot who he fought, but he got submitted. He's not trying to get, yeah, Paul Craig, yeah. Bad fight IQ with Glover Teixeira. I think that Krylov should have won that fight, but he didn't because of his fight IQ. Same thing with the when he got choked out by Jan Blachowicz and Serkinov. He's doesn't have the best IQ, fight IQ. This will be an exciting fight, and I'm gonna pick. This should be definitely a fight that plays out on the feet. I don't really see any fighter looking for takedowns, really. If someone's looking for takedowns, I have to guess it'd be Krylov. But I think that Reyes will try to stay on the outside and get some combinations off. So I'm gonna ever so slightly pick Reyes. I can't pick Krylov just because he hasn't fought in 2 years, so I don't know what he's gonna look like. I don't know what this dude's been doing for the past 2 years. So, and give me Reyes by decision. I don't really see any fighter getting a finish in this fight. If someone does get a finish, it's probably gonna be Krylov knocking out Dominic Reyes or choking him out, either one. But Reyes does have decent grappling. He can wrestle. He used to wrestle, I believe, or maybe he played football, but still decent wrestling for Reyes. So I'm gonna pick Reyes in this fight by decision. Next fight, we got Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull, and I'm excited for this one. Really excited. UFC experience will go to Yair, but overall MMA experience will go to Pitbull. This dude's been fighting since before I was born, really. And height advantage definitely goes to Yair. Got a 5 inch height advantage and a 5.5 reach advantage for Yair. Yair's coming off 2 fight skid. He lost to Volk, then he lost to Brian Ortega. Yep. Okay. Pitbull's coming off a win, knocking out Jeremy Kennedy. And this should definitely be a fight that plays out on the feet. I don't see either fighter going for takedowns in this fight. I think that striking, Yair, grappling, Pitbull, we don't really see him use it a lot, but he can wrestle. He can control people on the ground. Um, Even with the height and reach disadvantage, I have seen Pitbull beat a lot of taller guys, and even with the longer reach too. So beat AJ McKee, way bigger than him. Um, yeah, Pedro Carvalho, bigger than him. I don't think Juan Archuleta was that much bigger than yeah, not that much bigger than Pitbull. But I'm gonna pick Pitbull in this fight. He knows how to get his way on the outside, on the inside. He knows how to get his way on the inside and just put in combinations. Kind of like reminds me, not saying he's Taporia level, but his boxing is Taporia-esque. He throws a lot of combos, doesn't mind getting hit to give 3, 4 punches back. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Pitbull in this fight. I don't really see any fighter getting a finish in this fight. I think it goes 3 rounds. If someone does get a finish, it's probably Pitbull knocking out Yair. And because Pitbull does have that same similar build to Volk, short, stocky, very powerful. So I'm gonna pick Pitbull in this one. Everyone's picking Yair, right? Yep, I'm gonna pick Pitbull. Gotta pick Pitbull in this one. Even though I'm a fan of both, huge fan of both fighters. I love Yair, but I think that Pitbull's a great addition for UFC 145 or so. Yeah, give me Pitbull by decision here, maybe rounds three, 2, 3 knockout. Next fight, there's not much to break down in this fight. We got Bryce Mitchell versus John Silva, Lord Silva. And Bryce Mitchell doesn't have too many bad losses. Lost to Topuria, got choked out by Topuria, got kind of whooped by Topuria. Then he got flatlined by Josh Emmett. Fight didn't last long. He's coming off a win against Crone Gracie. Crone Gracie. Okay. John Silva, 3 inch height disadvantage and a 1 inch reach disadvantage. Grappling advantage is obviously going to go to Mitchell. UFC experience definitely goes to Mitchell. Mm, I would say cardio probably goes to Mitchell, but durability goes to Silva. Striking goes to Silva. Fight IQ goes to Silva. I'm picking Silva here. Picking Silva. I gotta pick John Silva in this one. Got to. Give me Silva. Rounds 1, 2, knockout. It's gonna be a fight that we know how this fight's gonna play out. John Silva's gonna be walking Bryce Mitchell down, using a lot of feints. Bryce Mitchell's gonna be the one trying to take Silva down. It's what this fight is either Bryce Mitchell controls Silva for 3 rounds, or John Silva just dog walks Bryce Mitchell. There's no other outcome in this fight. Bryce Mitchell wins a 3 round decision, or John Silva finds a knockout. Either one. And I'm picking Silva to get the knockout. Picking Silva to get the knockout. He's right there too. He's right there in the 145 conversation for title shot, especially if he beats Bryce Mitchell. I think that Movsar's up there, Lerone Murphy, John Silva. Two of those three guys got to fight each other. That's number one contender, especially if John Silva wins this fight, like how he's been winning by knockout. Yeah, John Silva. So, yeah, John Silva. That's my pick in this fight. John Silva by knockout. Next fight, we got co-main, five rounder, 155. Michael Chandler versus Paddy the Baddy. And I think I'm gonna pick. Whew. At first, I was gonna pick Chandler. Now that I think about it, I think I'm gonna pick Paddy. Let's look at the stats. 2 inch height advantage for Paddy, 1.5 inch reach advantage for Paddy. And if you just look right here, whew, without this, Tony Ferguson head kick or a front kick pretty much 3 years ago, Michael Chandler will be on a 4 fight losing skid. 4 fight losing skid. And he even got knocked down by Tony in that fight. Tony knocked him down. I know I did pick Chandler, and the only fight I picked him again in was his most recent Oliveira fight. I've been correct on every Michael Chandler fight in the UFC besides this second Charles Oliveira fight. He just lost to Oliveira, 5 rounder. Pretty much got outclassed except the fifth round. And then on the other hand, we got Patty. Patty's coming off a win against Bobby Green, which was a good win. I did not think Patty was gonna win that one. And the way he did too. Put Bobby to sleep. Bad. Michael Chandler, about to be 39 years old. And this is a 5 rounder too, man. Patty has shown decent cardio. I think the wrestling advantage goes to Michael Chandler, but the jiu-jitsu and grappling goes to Patty. Striking, Michael Chandler. Power, Michael Chandler. Fight IQ is actually Patty. You would think it'd be Chandler because he has way more MMA fights, and not that way more, but he's been fighting at a higher level for much longer than Patty. However, I feel like Michael Chandler, I mean, terrible fight IQ, just terrible fight IQ. Bad IQ against Gaethje for sure, against Poirier, and against Oliveira is second Oliveira fight. I gotta pick Patty in this one. All fights start out on the feet. As we know, Michael Chandler probably gonna be trying to walk Patty down, but also not trying to get too close because Patty does have good grappling, like as I said. So Patty, I don't think Patty's gonna be shooting for takedowns. And if anyone's shooting for takedowns, it's gonna be Michael Chandler. But Patty does have some good trips, especially on the fence. And I think just somehow Patty's gonna win this fight. I'm not a Patty fan, but I mean, what he's done in the UFC has just been surprising to me. I picked him against Luigi Vendramini, picked him against Vargas, picked him against Jordan Levitt, and I picked him against Jared Gordon. I picked him in all of his UFC fights, but he did not win that Jared Gordon fight. He did not win that fight. I'll tell you that right now. But judges say he won, so we got what 6-0 Pat of the Baddie in the UFC. So I think just somehow Patty's gonna win this fight. I don't know how. I can't really even visualize how this fight's gonna play out, but somehow Patty wins it. Probably Michael Chandler gasses out or makes a stupid mistake like Bobby Green did and gets choked out. But just somehow Patty wins this fight. You would think, man, with all the MMA experience at a high level that Michael Chandler has, fighting such high level fighters, that he would have made some improvements, but I think he just got into the UFC too late. He always does put on fun fights, but somehow Patty's gonna win this fight. So give me Patty by decision or submission rounds 3, 4, 5. Main event. This is a really hard fight for me to pick. A really hard fight. Like really hard fight for me to pick. Um, Diego Lopes, 5 inch height advantage, 1 inch reach advantage. Lopes coming off two consecutive losses, the head kick to Makhachev, and the nasty knockout by my boy Ilia Topuria. And Lopez, I think his last fight was that Ortega fight, and before that it was Dan Ige, and before that it was Sadiq Yusuf at UFC 300. Oh man, this is a hard fight to pick. Hard fight to pick. This should be a fight that plays out on the feet. I don't really see any fighter going for takedowns. If someone's going for takedowns, it's probably going to be Volk. But that's the problem is that Diego has really good submissions, especially off his back. So I'm not going to be sure if Volk really wants to go for takedowns on Lopez. UFC experience goes to Volk. I would say grappling goes to Lopez. Fight IQ goes to Volk. Lopez gets the striking advantage. Volk gets the cardio advantage. Diego got to give him the durability advantage, especially since Volk has a lot of tough fights and he got put out in his last two fights. So cardio advantage, Volk. Definitely Volk for the cardio. I don't know, man. It's hard to pick. This fight was, yeah, a year ago. Hmm. Give me Lopez. Give me Diego Lopez. I don't think he's gonna be able to choke Volk out because Volk does have really great submission defense and fought one of the best grapplers in the history of MMA in Islam. And even Volk reverse positions a lot against Islam in their first fight. And he showed that he can really grapple with some of the best in the world. Maybe not such a submission threat, but as far as defending takedowns and controlling people on the ground, Volk can do it. So it's a tough fight to pick, but I gotta go Lopez. I think Lopez is just at one point is gonna crack Volk. The thing with Volk is that he needs to be perfect for all 5 rounds, every second, every minute for all 5 rounds. Lopez, on the other hand, he can get taken down, he can get control on the ground, but he just needs that one moment in the fight to land a clean shot on Volk. And we've seen Diego do it. He did it against Brian Ortega, stung Ortega, he stung Dan Ige a few times. Didn't really hurt Dan Ige bad, but he stung him. Obviously ran through Sadiq Yusuf and past Sabatini, Gavin Tucker. Diego Lopez is a powerful striker with really good striking. And with Vogue being put out back to back fights and hasn't fought in a year, I gotta go Diego Lopez. Gotta go Diego Lopez. So give me Lopez here by rounds 3, 4, 5, knockout. Yeah, Lopez is the pick.